Okay, so this is a continuation of what I was just saying about worshipful experiences regarding nature. One more that I forgot to mention was I was in the Museum of Natural History, and there is an exhibit which I think is about gemstones or something like that. Anyway, the entry to that exhibit had or has uh, the chemical structure of salt, I believe it is. And I remember, for whatever reason, somehow it struck me upon entering that, just the incredible level of, once again, detail of this, and just I was humbled by witnessing this beautiful chemical makeup of salt. And I was in awe of it. It was gorgeous, and it was this tiny little thing that we use all the time, table salt. And I thought, that's incredible. It's incredible, and it's beautiful. Um, it's ironic to me, we are told that Satan is the father of lies, and that when he lies, that he is speaking his native language, and he will take truths of God and twist it. And I think it's a twist of Satan um, that has told the world that science disproves God, because when you're looking around, it's the opposite. I mean, just look around you. Science is showing us, revealing, God is revealing himself in science. I mean, it's just, he's saying, look at me, look what I'm doing. This is just for your enjoyment and your pleasure. And it really is. Anyway, so if you're looking at it that way, and not that if you're looking for things, but if you kind of just like ignore what the world is saying about it, and you look around you, you just see God instructing, guiding us everywhere, and revealing himself everywhere. Anyway, um, as an example of that, I have several times gotten encouragement by just kind of being out in nature. And I know many people who are that way. I mean, not only does it bring about a peace and a calmness just by being out in nature, there's also just things to notice and pay attention. There was some time last year where I was struggling with something, I don't remember what, but I was sitting by my creek and looking at the water and observing how on the surface of the water there was a reflection of the sky above me. And yet underneath that water there was something completely different going on, but the water was reflecting something different than what was actually going on underneath it. I don't remember what was going on, but it was something that instructed me in a certain way where I felt guided to move on in that situation because of how God was using that as a metaphor for something that I was experiencing. Um, and then just yesterday, Mabel and I were at the sink for doing something with the dishes, and we were observing something about the water, and the way that it was behaving reminded us about God, and we both thought it, and neither of us like said anything about it. It was just something that she said to me, and I said, I was just thinking that. And it was like a little lesson that God was instructing both of us on all of a sudden. And we chatted a little bit about it. And it was just like this little lesson that popped out because of the physics of the water running down the dirty dish, and what was going on, and how we pictured that. Um, and let's see, another one. I remember another time where I was seeking God's guidance on something, and yet again, I was walking near a creek, not my creek, but He used the situation that was going on in that creek that I noticed to help me to understand what it was He was trying to do. And I felt free to move on in that situation because of what I had connected to that situation, and it really helped. There was something this week that happened with one of my dogs and some of our chickens, and a potential threat that was out there that the dog had alerted me to, along with some crows that were alerting me to it. And this was for me a lesson in paying attention and noticing the different signs, separate signs that didn't have anything to do with each other normally, but in this particular case together they meant something that I was supposed to pay attention to. Anyway, these are all just like, I could go into detail on all of them and tell you the full story about it, and it might be interesting. But the point is that God uses His world to show us things very simply and easily that can help us if we're paying attention to the lessons and the things, the guideposts that he puts before us. It's just an incredible blessing, and the simplicity of it is elegant, and it's a treasure. And so he speaks to us big time through nature, and so we would do well to pay attention to what's going on around us in that nature. I hope that encourages you. Have a great weekend.